All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my 80s Storm fan art part 2. I'm This is where I get into color, so I'm sure it's very exciting for everybody. Um so I'm starting out right now with laying in the shadows with a turquoise color. It's kind of a favorite of mine. And you'll see probably about when I get down to the arms, I'm actually going to change my mind on the light source. I went from having it kind of above her head to changing my mind and deciding that actually I want it. There you go, right there. I actually wanted it coming from the lightning in her hands. So I kind of went through this. Whenever I paint, I tend to do a lot of layers. I use acrylic ink for anybody who's curious, and kind of the big appeal to me is its versatility. It's got kind of that watery consistency like watercolor, but it does build color like acrylic. It just takes a lot more layers because it's a lot more watery than, just run of the mill acrylic. So the fact that I kind of changed my mind isn't going to be a big deal. It's not like watercolor, I can paint over it. So now you can see where I'm doing thin washes of her skin tone, just kind of laying everything out. And yeah, I tend to do shadows first just so I can kind of get a feel of where the light source is in case I need to change my mind, like I did a minute ago. So now, yeah, just kind of going through, and it's just layer upon layer upon layer of just different color washes. I believe I used burnt umber for her skin tone. And yeah, just kind of working from the top down. Whenever I work with really wet media, I tend to go sort of like writing since I'm right-handed, left, right, top, down. That way I'm not dragging my hand over wet paint. And at the time when I filmed this, I didn't have a very long fixture for my camera, so that's why it's zoomed in kind of tight. This is a 9x12 painting, and it's kind of right up on it because it just wasn't very long. But I've since then solved that problem if you've watched any of my live streams. But yeah, I'm just kind of adding in different colors and yeah, inner skin tone. Now I'm doing highlights. I decided the lightning is going to be yellow, so the highlights are going to reflect that. And yeah, it's also, this is a really fun way to paint faces, because you basically have the light coming from underneath you, and that's a lot of fun. So it makes for a very nice, dramatic sort of light. And yeah, just kind of going along, trucking along with highlights. And what this video isn't going to show, yeah, and then I also have kind of a personal collection of blank index cards that I use for swatches. So that's what's going on here. But as I was saying, one thing I do cut out of videos is I take a lot of breaks when I'm painting, just one for, ergonomic reasons. Sitting at a desk, tends to kind of hurt my back a little bit. But also, it gives these layers of paint time to dry so I can build color on it without it being a muddy mess. So, for the most part, I've cut these out because I thought it would be kind of boring for you guys to just kind of sit here and literally watch paint dry. Now I'm adding in a little bit of shadows and highlights to her hair, and I'll move on later in the video, you're going to see more of it. I just kind of wanted to give sort of a general feel of it. And now, because of the lighting, it's a little hard to see, but there is a very pale wash of yellow in the lightning, and I'm kind of adding a pale yellow wash onto some of the colors. And now, this is something that I like to explain to artists too, is, or anybody, you know, who's just kind of checking it out. In the natural world, I mean, now this is just barring inking and line art, which you see I've used a lot of black, like in the background and everything. But generally, true black and true white, you very rarely ever see in the natural world. Usually for black, you're just seeing a really hyper-pigmented version of another color. The example I like to use is my cat. I have a solid black cat, but he's actually not solid black. If you look at him in direct sunlight, you'll see kind of a brown cast to him. So in reality, he's just a hyper-pigmented brown cat that we perceive as black, because he's just kind of so dark that that's just kind of how we see him. And in general, that's how any black cat is. So yeah, when you see me doing a lot of, if like in this instance, a black outfit, she's going to have a lot of some other color depending on what the environment is. And for shadows, since I'm using a yellow light source, I'm doing a lot of blues and purples for shadows. So in this case, she's going to have a very dark blue and purple outfit. Same goes for white, even more so because white, it's so light, it picks up all kinds of other colors and it reflects a lot of color. So yeah, it's kind of the same principle. You're just looking at really pale versions of whatever's around it, either because it's a very light version of that color or your lighting has kind of a certain hue. Like most household lamps or light bulbs are going to have kind of a yellowy color, so it tends to give yellow light. And so what you're seeing as white is actually, in fact, a very pale yellow. It's all about just kind of your perception in relation to other colors is sort of what I'm saying. And I moved the camera so you can see the hair a little bit better. And she does have feet. I'm not Liefelding it. Like I said, it's just the camera. I couldn't zoom it out kind of place it very far out. But now I'm going through and defining lightning. And yeah, just giving it kind of more of a, just more definition and establishing it more as a light source. And I'm going to go in and give definition to the white outline around it so she doesn't get swallowed up by the black background. So yeah, this is just kind of what I do to give finishing touches to paintings. So yeah, this is pretty much the gist of it. I hope you enjoyed watching these videos, and I hope that I will see you in my live stream. So if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I will see you later. Yeah, there's a finished product. Bye!